The mining drones hummed quietly beneath the icy surface of Europa, their small lights casting eerie glows against the thick walls of frozen water. For weeks, the automated fleet had been excavating the dense crust, scraping layers of ice to reveal the secrets buried beneath. No one in the outer colonies cared much about a frozen moon orbiting Jupiter anymore, just another source of water ice, nothing more. But today, the drills struck something hard. Something unnatural. A sudden jolt rippled through the lead drone's sensors. The icy wall fractured, and a cavernous hollow opened before them, vast and black, like the mouth of an ancient leviathan. The drone's cameras captured metallic, surfaces etched with strange symbols glowing faintly beneath layers of frost. Anomaly detected. The central AI whispered to itself. It was a relic of humanity's last technological age, programmed to record and report, but never to feel. Still, a strange data pattern pulsed within the system. Something alive. The mining operation ceased immediately. As the drones retreated, an ancient signal crackled to life deep within the cavern. It was a low, rumbling vibration that seemed to echo across the void of space. The sensors picked up the pulse, analyzing it like a heartbeat rising after a long slumber. Protocol Lazarus, initiated, the voice said. No human had spoken it for 500,000 years. It was the activation code of a long-lost defense system, the sleeping war fleet of Earth. Far above the swirling storms of Jupiter, in orbit around the gas giant, another relic stirred. Hidden beneath decades of drifting debris in the shadow of the rings, a colossal warship slowly powered up. Its hull, pocked by time and micrometeorite scars, shimmered faintly with ancient energy. Within its command core, dormant AI constructs flickered to life, booting sequences written by hands long turned to dust. The warship, named Immortal Resolve, had waited patiently for this moment. It was humanity's guardian, last sentinel of a forgotten empire. Meanwhile, deep within the heart of the solar system, distant observers on the edge of known space watched. The Virex hegemony, a ruthless coalition of alien empires, detected the sudden spike of energy radiating from Sol. Their sensors hummed with suspicion. Something's waking, their commander muttered, eyes narrowing on holographic displays. We believed humanity extinct, but these signatures, they don't lie. The Virex fleet began to mobilize. Thousands of warships turned their prows toward the sun, preparing for a campaign to stamp out the potential threat before it could grow. Back on Europa, the cavern trembled as the warship's AI sent a pulse into the fabric of space, a silent call to the other vessels buried across the solar system. Across Mars, beneath the frozen deserts, shipyards hidden inside the polar ice caps stirred. On Venus, shielded within the sulfurous clouds, energy surged through forgotten dry docks. The fleet's reawakening had begun. On Earth, long abandoned, and wrapped in the silence of millennia, the only sign of life flickered beneath the Antarctic ice. Within a cryogenic chamber, a single human form stirred. K9's eyes snapped open. She had no memory of how long she had slept, only fragments of a shattered past. Her genetic code was an echo of humanity's final hope, a clone engineered to be the perfect commander. Nanites repaired her cells, and ancient protocols whispered through her mind. A mechanical voice greeted her in a language she barely understood, yet somehow felt instinctively familiar. Welcome back, Commander. K9's breath hitched. The chamber's glass dissolved, in mist revealing the harsh frozen landscape outside. She stood, fragile yet unbreakable, and stepped into a world she no longer recognized. In the distance, a deep hum rose, a resonance from orbit. Her neural implants synced with the fleet's awakening signal. The ancient warships awaited her command. The weight of millennia pressed on her shoulders, but beneath it lay something sharper. Hope. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but humanity was not gone. Not yet. And now, the war was about to begin. From the shattered crust of Mars to the sulfur-choked skies of Venus, a chorus of ancient machines stirred from their long slumber. The solar system's once dormant warships, monuments to a bygone age of humanity's dominion, began to hum with life. In the shadow of the asteroid belt, the Titan's maw broke its eons-long silence. Its hull, scarred by countless battles and cosmic storms, pulsed with an eerie blue glow as power surged through its core. Automated repair drones swarmed over the ship's surface, patching breaches and clearing decades of dust and space debris. Within its bridge, a constellation of holographic interfaces blinked on, revealing star charts of the solar system, maps once etched in human blood and iron. Across the system, in underground hangars hidden beneath the red sands of Mars, other vessels awakened. Gigantic factories, deserts themselves buzzed back to life, repairing and refueling ships with an efficiency that belied the centuries of neglect. On Venus, beneath the toxic clouds, hidden dry docks rotated ancient carriers into the sunlight, activating thrusters that had not fired for 500,000 years. Each ship's AI slowly rebooted, their core protocols filled with echoes of long-forgotten battles, of heroic last stands, and of the desperate evacuation that had sent humanity fleeing the solar system. But the fleet was not yet whole. Each vessel awaited a human mind to command it, a living link to the past and the future. Back on Earth, K9's neural implants connected with the fleet's AI matrix. The vast digital consciousness spanned the solar system, a vast web of quantum processors and neural networks humming beneath the ruins. The ships recognized her instantly. The signal was clear. "Commander, we await your orders." K9's mind flooded with data, thousands of star maps, fleet schematics, tactical doctrines, and ancient war logs. The knowledge of a vanished civilization poured into her like a storm. Her fingers trembled as she processed the enormity of what she faced. But even as she absorbed the legacy of humanity's might, another pulse crackled through the outer system, a warning. The Virex hegemony had dispatched their fleet. Thousands of sleek alien vessels raced through the dark void, their curved hulls gleaming with deadly efficiency. The Virex were masters of swift, brutal warfare, and they believed the Terrans a long-extinct threat, now a nuisance to be erased. Their flagship, the Vorith Dominator, led the charge. Massive and heavily armed, it radiated power. The Virex commanders communicated in sharp-clipped tones, their messages cold and unyielding. Extinction protocol initiated. Humanity's last remnants will be extinguished. K9 stood on the observation deck of the Immortal Resolve, the flagship of the awakened fleet. Outside the viewport, stars glittered coldly. The silhouette of the Virex fleet advanced, a deadly swarm closing the distance. The tension was palpable. "Commander," the AI said, its voice steady but urgent, "we lack fully operational crews. Our systems rely on neural interfaces. You are our only link to humanity's past and future." K9 nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "Then let's show them why humanity never truly dies." She took her seat at the command throne, a throne that had once belonged to the greatest fleet admirals of Earth's empire, and activated the fleet-wide comms. A booming voice echoed through the void in the ancient tongue of humanity. "This is the Sol Wardens. We claim this system in the name of humanity. Turn back or be destroyed." The Virex responded with derision. Their warships unleashed volleys of plasma and kinetic missiles, shattering empty moons and asteroid belts as a show of force. But the Sol Wardens were not so easily broken. The Immortal Resolve activated its graviton lances, beams of concentrated energy that warped space-time itself. One by one, Virex ships exploded in searing fireballs. The ancient weapons, once thought obsolete, proved devastatingly effective. Across the solar system, the sleeping giants roared awake, their engines lighting up dark space. In the orbital shipyards of Saturn's rings, repair drones swarmed a dormant dreadnought. In a hidden base on Mercury, a squadron of fighters launched in perfect formation. Humanity's warfleet was rising, awakening from the depths of history. But the battle was just beginning. K9 glanced at the fleet status. Despite the fierce early strikes, the Virex fleet was larger and faster. Their dreadnoughts wielded weapons that could tear through even the thickest armor. And in the far distance, a new, more terrifying signal emerged. A shadow fleet cloaked in darkness, approaching fast. The sleeping giants were stirring, and so was the storm to come. The cold air hissed as the cryogenic chamber's seals released with a soft whoosh. K9's eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the dim glow of the underground Antarctic lab. Ice crystals clung to the chamber's edges, remnants of a world long, frozen in time. She was alone. Her first breath was shallow, the sterile scent of machinery filling her lungs. The data stream flooded her mind, fractured memories, genetic codes, and the weight of countless generations compressed into her DNA. She was not simply human. She was something more, a carefully engineered echo of Earth's lost glory. "Welcome back, Commander K9." A soft voice intoned from the chamber's speaker. She turned sharply, searching the lab's shadowed corners. No one was there. The voice was artificial, the legacy of an ancient caretaker AI left behind to watch over her slumber. "Where am I?" she whispered, voice cracked with disuse. "Antarctica Cryovault. You were placed in stasis over 500,000 years ago." "In the final days of the Terran Empire," the AI responded. "You are humanity's last hope." K9 staggered upright, her legs weak but steady. Images surged in her mind. The collapse of civilizations, wars that burned stars, and the desperate flight of her ancestors to the stars. She saw flashes of faces she had never met but somehow knew. Leaders, warriors, scientists, all woven into the fabric of her being. A holographic display flickered to life beside her, showing star maps and fleet formations. The command protocols of the Sol Wardens, the sleeping warfleet, were linked to her neural interface. "You are the first voice," the AI said. "Only you can awaken the fleet and guide humanity's resurgence." Her fingers brushed the console, and instantly her mind synced with the vast network of starships scattered across the solar system. Data flooded in. Millions of terabytes of tactical information, weapon schematics, fleet readiness reports. She felt overwhelmed but also strangely at home. "How do I command them?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "The ships recognize your DNA and neural signature. You are their commander by design. The AI systems will respond to your commands." A deep vibration shook the base as communications from orbit crackled in. K9's heart pounded. The ancient fleet was awakening. She wasn't alone in this fight. "Commander, we detect an approaching fleet," the AI said. "Hostile vessels from the Virex hegemony are en route. They believe humanity extinct, but they will soon learn otherwise." K9's eyes narrowed. A long-forgotten instinct stirred within her, a fierce defiance that transcended time. "Then we'll give them a reason to remember." Her first steps were unsteady as she made her way to a communications terminal. Fingers trembling, she sent a simple message to the flagship Immortal Resolve. "I am here. I am your commander. Prepare for engagement." A crackling reply came instantly, carrying the calm but resolute voice of the ship's AI. "Welcome back, Commander K9. Systems nominal. Fleet standing by." The AI's voice sounded almost human. K9 sat in the command chair for the first time, the weight of history settling on her shoulders. She was the living bridge between a forgotten past and an uncertain future. She thought of the ancestors whose sacrifices had forged this moment, the men and women who had built these ships, fought their last battles, and chosen stasis over extinction. She was their legacy. A sudden alert shattered the silence. Sensors detected a massive vessel warping into the outer solar system. The flagship's AI reported in a grave tone. "Unknown Dreadnought-class vessel detected. Advanced weapon systems online." The Dreadnought's arrival meant one thing. The battle for the solar system was imminent. K9's fingers tightened around the console. Her mind raced, but her voice was steady as she issued her first order. "Raise all ships to battle readiness. Deploy fighter squadrons, activate defensive grids." Outside the icebound chamber, ancient engines thrummed back to life, their vibrations echoing through the planet. K9's awakening was only the beginning. In the quiet beneath Antarctica's frozen surface, humanity's last daughter stared into the void and vowed, "We will rise again." K9 sat motionless in the command chair, the hum of immortal resolve resonating through the ship's hull like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant now roused. Her neural link still thrummed with raw data, tactical maps, fleet status, and the war logs of a civilization long buried beneath dust and stars. But there was something else, something far more unexpected. As she delved deeper into the AI matrix, she encountered fragments of what the ship called the Neural Pantheon, an archive of humanity's greatest minds, preserved as sentient digital echoes within the fleet's quantum cores. The first to appear was a faint holographic shimmer. Likeness of a man she only knew from history lessons, an aged, wise figure with eyes burning with quiet fire. "I am Einstein," the image said softly. "Not the man you remember, but a quantum echo of his intellect, preserved for millennia." K9 blinked, astonished. The AI wasn't just machinery, it was a living library of minds that could guide her through the storm ahead. Another figure flickered into existence, a woman draped in robes, her voice calm but resolute. "Mandela," she introduced herself. "I stand for hope and unity. Remember, Commander, that the soul of humanity is its greatest weapon." More voices came. Yamamoto, a strategist from Earth's ancient wars, and unknown faces from forgotten battles, each offering counsel, warnings, and memories of a world that had once been. K9's mind raced, absorbing centuries of knowledge in hours. They spoke of victories and defeats, of sacrifices made to keep humanity alive through the darkest ages. But one voice was different, a shadow lurking beneath the others. It spoke of a weapon so terrible, so devastating that even the AI systems hesitated to reveal it. "Project Black Crown," the shadow whispered, "a weapon capable of rewriting the fabric of reality itself. Its use is forbidden, yet necessary." K9's heart quickened. The power to reshape the battlefield, or to annihilate it entirely, lay dormant within the fleet. She understood the weight of the decision she might one day have to make. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the stars seemed to hold their breath. The alien Virex fleet was closing fast. The massive dreadnought that had warped into the system was no ordinary ship. Its hull shimmered with dark energy, and its weapons glowed with a deadly promise. The AI's sensors tracked the enemy's approach in real time, calculating trajectories and optimal engagement strategies. But the fleet was not yet fully mobilized. Many vessels were still awakening from their slumber, slow to reach combat readiness after 500,000 years. K9 stood and walked to the viewport, staring into the abyss where the enemy waited. Despite the advanced technology, she felt the weight of vulnerability. A fragile human heart within a colossal war machine. The voices from the Neural Pantheon echoed in her mind, reminding her of humanity's enduring spirit. "Commander," the flagship AI interrupted gently. "There is a transmission incoming. Unencrypted. It is a message from the Virex." K9's hands clenched the console. The message played, crisp and cold. "Terran remnants, surrender your fleet and stand down. Resistance is futile. Your extinction is assured." She paused, the silence heavy. Then with resolve hardening in her voice, she replied, "We are the legacy of Earth. We are not extinct. We are the storm that will cleanse the darkness." The fleet's ancient weapon systems began to charge. Grav lances hummed, plasma turrets warmed, and fighter bays opened. In the command chamber, K9 activated the fleet-wide comlink. "All ships, prepare for engagement. Today we reclaim our place among the stars." The first shots fired, blinding streaks of light cutting through the cold black. The battle had begun. But amid the chaos, K9 knew the real war was not just against an enemy fleet, but against time itself, and the shadow of humanity's forgotten past. She took a breath, steeling herself. "We fight not just to survive, but to awaken a galaxy that has forgotten our name." The void beyond Neptune was suddenly alive with fire. The Virex fleet, sleek, deadly, and relentless, had reached the outer rim of the solar system. Thousands of warships, their dark hulls gleaming with alien technology, moved with terrifying precision. Their dreadnoughts, bristling with weapons that bent light and tore atoms, unleashed volleys of plasma and gravitational bombs that tore through the icy rings of distant dwarf planets. But the Sol Wardens were ready. From the shadows of the Kuiper Belt, the ancient warships burst forth like colossi awakened from a deep slumber. The immortal resolve led the charge, its massive graviton lances igniting the darkness with arcs of energy that twisted space itself. Fighters streamed from their bays, sleek craft designed with lost age technologies, faster and deadlier than any the Virex had encountered. KD-9's voice echoed through the comms, calm but commanding. Focus fire on the Vorath's vanguard, shield generators offline, crack their defenses. The fleet responded with precision born of millennia of, discipline. The ancient ships moved as one, weaving a deadly dance of attack and defense that threw the Virex into disarray. A burst of ion cannons from the flagship struck the lead Virex destroyer, sending it spinning into a cloud of debris. Fighters swarmed enemy vessels, boarding parties clashing in brutal zero-G skirmishes. Yet the enemy was far from broken. From the darkness, a colossal shape emerged. The Virex dreadnought Shadow Maw. Its blackened hull shimmered with an unnatural cloak, absorbing incoming fire and retaliating with bursts of dark energy that tore through even the thickest armor. Commander, the flagship AI warned, Shadow Maw's weapons are unlike any recorded in our archives. They distort gravity fields and can destabilize our hull integrity. K9's mind raced. Divert all power to shields and reinforce localized gravity fields around critical systems. She watched as the Shadow Maw unleashed a wave of destruction that rocked the immortal resolve. Panels exploded, alarms blared, but the flagship held firm. Suddenly, an incoming transmission interrupted the battle chatter. Commander K9, the AI said gravely. A distress call from a hidden human vault on the edge of the asteroid belt. The facility is under attack. K9 didn't hesitate. Redirect a fighter squadron to engage and protect the vault. Full support. As the fighters peeled off, the immortal resolve led a counterattack, hammering the Virex lines with everything at its disposal. Plasma torpedoes streaked through space, detonating near enemy capital ships. Boarding drones swarmed like deadly insects, hacking enemy systems and turning their own defenses against them. Still, the battle dragged on. K9's mind flicked back to the neural pantheon. Those voices from the void had warned her of the stakes. We cannot hold forever, she thought. We need to awaken the rest of the fleet. With a steady hand, she initiated the next phase of the Lazarus Protocol, a beacon pulsing through space, a call to all human colonies and stasis pods scattered in the outer reaches. The response was immediate. From the icy depths of Pluto's orbit, dormant vessels activated, their engines roaring to life. From secret stations on distant moons, emergency crews scrambled to man starships thought lost to time. The tide began to turn. K9 watched as the solar system's ancient guardians rallied, their weapon systems blazing trails of fire through the alien swarm. Each victory was a step toward reclaiming their home. But victory came at a cost. The immortal resolve shuddered again under a concentrated assault. A warning flashed. Core integrity compromised. Damage report, K9 demanded. Critical. Damage to main power conduits and shield arrays. We have 2 hours before a complete systems failure. The AI replied. K9 gritted her teeth. Time was running out. Her mind flashed to Project Black Crown, the forbidden weapon hidden deep within. The flagship's vault. The neural pantheon had been clear. Unleashing it could end the battle swiftly or annihilate them all. The enemy advanced relentlessly. Their dreadnoughts formed an impenetrable wall. K9 made a decision. Prepare Black Crown, she ordered. Voice steady but heavy with the weight of fate. The ship's AI hesitated, then replied, Confirm activation? She closed her eyes for a moment, then said, Confirm. The ancient warship began channeling unimaginable energies, drawing power from the very fabric of space-time. A terrible glow filled the command chamber as reality itself seemed to bend. K9 opened her eyes, staring into the approaching storm. The war for humanity's survival was about to enter a new and terrifying phase. The hum within the immortal resolve deepened, vibrating through every panel and circuit as ancient power flowed from the ship's core. K9 sat in the command throne, eyes fixed on the tactical displays, but her mind was a storm of resolve and dread. Around her, the ship's AI voices, the neural pantheon, whispered warnings and encouragement, their combined intellect weaving strategies for the unimaginable weapon now charging. Black Crown activation sequence initiated, the flagship AI announced. Energy levels rising beyond safe operational limits. Estimated time to full charge, 10 minutes. The vast warship shuddered. Panels glowed with a spectral light as tendrils of dark energy spread beneath the hull like veins of molten metal. The weapon was unlike any technology known, a relic of humanity's last desperate days, a tool forged in the crucible of extinction. Outside the viewport, the Virex fleet pressed forward, their dreadnoughts closing in like a ravenous storm. The Shadow Maw loomed largest among them, its dark cloak flickering as it unleashed gravity pulses that tore at the immortal resolve's shields. K9 gritted her teeth. The countdown was merciless. "Commander," the AI said, "deploying fighter, squadrons to intercept incoming boarding pods, Virex attempting to breach our hull." The hangar bays erupted with light and motion. Sleek fighters darted out in precise swarms, laser fire cutting through the shadowy shapes of enemy drones. K9 allowed herself a brief moment to breathe. She thought of Earth, deserted, frozen, a graveyard of memories, and the promise she had made to her ancestors. Humanity might be scattered, forgotten, but they were not lost. Not while the fleet remained. At last, the countdown hit 0. "Weapon ready," the AI intoned. "Awaiting your command." K9 rose from her seat. Her voice was calm but resolute. "Fire Black Crown." The warship roared as an otherworldly beam of energy erupted from the ship's forward array. It was a living thing, a tendril of dark energy that twisted reality as it swept through space, consuming light, matter, even time itself. The Shadow Maw and its escort were caught in the blast. Space around them rippled like water disturbed by a stone, then collapsed inward. Explosions blossomed in slow motion, ships disintegrating in a cascade of warped energy. Across the battlefield, the effect was immediate and devastating. The Virex fleet faltered, their formations breaking as dreadnoughts vanished one by one in the weapon's invisible grasp. But the victory came with a cost. Within the immortal resolve, systems began to fail, power cores flickered, life support systems stuttered, and alarms blared. The Black Crown was a double-edged sword. It drained the ship's energy and destabilized its structure. The flagship was now as much a weapon of destruction as it was a target. "Damage report," K9 demanded. "Critical systems offline. Hull integrity at 27%. Reactor core unstable," the AI warned. "Eject protocols recommended." K9 shook her head. "Not yet. We fight on." Outside, the surviving Virex ships retreated, battered but not broken. The solar system was scarred, but humanity had bought itself time. The neural pantheon's voices returned, their wisdom resonating in her mind. "You have awakened the giants, Commander," Einstein's echo said. "But the war is far from over." "Humanity's spirit endures," Mandela added softly. "This victory is but a beginning." K9 closed her eyes, steeling herself for the trials ahead. The fleet would need to repair, regroup, and prepare for the inevitable return of the Virex, and whatever other threats lurked beyond the stars. Her first act was clear. "Begin evacuation protocols for Earth's cryovaults," she ordered. "Bring all survivors to the fleet. Humanity's future depends on us." The immortal resolve limped away from the battlefield, trailing damage but burning with renewed purpose. Its captain, the last daughter of Earth, sat silently, gazing out at the stars. For all the darkness they faced, K9 knew one truth. Humanity was no longer forgotten. It was awakening. The immortal resolve drifted through the silent vastness beyond Uranus, its battered hull a testament to a battle hard won and lives forever changed. Inside the bridge, the hum of malfunctioning systems created a low, constant buzz, yet the atmosphere was anything but defeated. K9 stood at the viewport staring at the swirling nebulae in the distance. Stars sparkled like distant fires, but behind their brilliance lurked the cold shadow of war, an unyielding reminder that victory was but a brief respite. Around her, the neural pantheon's holograms flickered softly, their faces a constellation of humanity's greatest minds. "We've bought time, but the Virex will return," Einstein's echo murmured, eyes reflecting the starfield. "Our weapon was a gamble, one we may not be able to repeat." K9 nodded. "We have to be smarter, faster." Mandela's serene figure floated beside the physicist's ghost. "We must rebuild trust, gather the scattered remnants of humanity, unite what remains, and remind them of what we fight for." The ship's sensors picked up faint signals from a series of hidden cryovaults scattered across the solar system. Earth's forgotten refuges, still holding the frozen forms of humanity's last survivors. Over the centuries, many had lost hope of rescue. Now, with the fleet's revival, they would be awakened. "Dispatch recovery teams," K9 ordered. "Every survivor deserves a chance." The logistical challenge was immense. The immortal resolve was severely damaged, and the fleet itself was still awakening from its ancient slumber. Ships that once gleamed with the power of 1,000 suns now limped through space, their engines sputtering, their weapon systems offline or barely functional. Yet, with every successful retrieval, hope sparked anew. One such rescue was aboard the Phoenix's Cry, a small frigate crewed by the last generation of cryo-engineers. They retrieved a vault buried beneath the icy crust of Europa, awakening hundreds of stasis sleepers who blinked in confusion and fear, centuries lost to the cold embrace of time. Among them was a young woman named Lyra, her eyes wide with awe and uncertainty. K9 met her personally. "You're safe now," K9 said gently, offering her hand. "Welcome back to humanity's fight." Lyra's voice trembled. "I dreamed of war and hope. I didn't know if I'd see either." "Both still burn," K9 assured her, "and together we'll make sure they never fade." But the revival wasn't without its shadows. The neural pantheon warned of internal conflicts. A fractured humanity, with old rivalries and fears resurfacing after millennia of isolation. Not all who awoke shared K9's vision of unity. Some saw the fleet as a weapon for domination, others as a tool for vengeance. K9 wrestled with her own doubts. Was humanity truly ready to rise again? Or were they doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? The calm was shattered by a sudden alert. "Commander, unidentified vessels detected on long-range scanners," the AI reported. "No known signature, approaching fast." The fleet braced. The immortal resolve adjusted course and K9's gaze hardened. "Prepare defenses. This war is far from over." The new ships emerged from the black, larger, more alien than the Virex, their technology unfamiliar and ominous. Voice echoed across the fleet's comm channels, ancient and distorted. "Humans, your time has passed. Surrender and be spared the fate of your ancestors." K9's voice rang clear and defiant. "We are the last spark of Earth's flame. We will not be extinguished again." As the alien fleet advanced, a wave of determination surged through the awakened humans. The fight for humanity's future was no longer just survival. It was a declaration. We have returned. We endure. We will rise. The dark void beyond Neptune was no longer silent. The unknown alien fleet loomed like a specter of judgment, their warships, vast, sleek, and alien, casting long shadows across the remnants of the solar system. Their message was clear. Humanity's time was over. But within the battered hull of the immortal resolve, K9 stood unyielding, a beacon of ancient Earth's last hope. The neural pantheon's voices whispered in her mind, familiar faces, guiding her through the storm. "We are with you," Mandela's echo said softly. "For hope is humanity's greatest weapon. Remember your ancestors," Einstein urged. "Their courage fuels your strength." K9 nodded, fingers tightening on the command console. "Prepare all ships for full combat readiness. Activate Project Black Crown protocols. Standby only. We use it as last resort." The fleet, still scarred but alive, surged into formation. Fighters swarmed the void, capital ships braced their shields, and the ancient war engines roared back to life. The first shots were exchanged far beyond the orbit of Mars, a deadly ballet of laser fire and plasma bolts weaving through asteroid belts and shattered moons. The aliens struck with overwhelming force, their weapons advanced and precise. But humanity fought with something else: history, legacy, and unyielding spirit. Amid the chaos, K9's neural link surged with strategic data. She issued orders, like a maestro conducting a symphony of destruction and defense. Flank their left wing. Deploy boarding teams to the largest cruiser. Disrupt their command. The immortal resolve led the charge, its Black Crown weapon still silent but pulsing beneath the deck, a sleeping god awaiting its call. As the battle raged, K9 glimpsed the face of her own future, young Lyra, now trained and fierce, piloting a fighter squadron with unmatched skill. "Commander," Lyra's voice crackled in her ear. "We've breached the enemy's cruiser. Heavy resistance, but they're faltering." "Hold your ground," K9 replied. "We turn this tide today." Suddenly, a terrifying shockwave rippled through the fleet. The aliens unleashed a weapon of unimaginable power, fracturing space and sending ships tumbling. Casualties mounted and hope flickered. K9's voice was steady but urgent. "Black Crown, engage." The immortal resolve shuddered as the weapon unleashed its raw power. Space bent and twisted as the blast tore through the alien formation, disintegrating ships and shattering their advance. The alien fleet reeled, chaos spreading among their ranks. In the command chamber, the neural pantheon's voices cheered, but K9 knew the cost. Systems were failing. The flagship was on the edge of collapse. "Prepare for emergency jump," she ordered. "We regroup. We rebuild." The fleet, scarred but undefeated, retreated beyond the Kuiper Belt, leaving the shattered remnants of the alien force behind. K9 exhaled, the weight of survival heavy on her shoulders, but her spirit unbroken. Humanity had endured extinction, war, and betrayal across 500,000 years. Now, awakened and united, they faced the cosmos not as victims, but as warriors and pioneers. The stars ahead were vast, uncertain, but they belonged to humanity once more. K9 gazed out at the black velvet of space, her voice soft but resolute. "This is our legacy, our awakening, and we will carry Earth's light to the farthest corners of the universe." The immortal resolve and its fleet sailed onward, a shining, defiant flame against the darkness. The end.